Welcome back. The Minerals Council South Africa says that the crisis at Eskom has nothing to do with the country exporting coal. This comes on the back of a social media campaign that wants to stop coal exports through Richards Bay Coal Terminal to bring power cuts to an end. The council says the campaign is not based on any facts and instead relies on allegations that Eskom's inability to keep the lights on is because of the country exporting coal. Eskom, head of communications at Minerals Council South Africa, joins us now to talk more about the dangers of spreading this narrative. Alan, thank you so much for your time this evening. So explain to us how coal is not part of the load shedding problem. For many of us who've been following the news, this may seem quite self-evident, but for those who perhaps have not been following this as closely, just break it down for us.
Sure. Thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity tonight. The point is that Eskom has about 32 days worth of coal stockpiled at its coal-fired power stations. It needs a minimum of 20, and it's got basically 32 days. So it's got more than enough coal. Our coal members are supplying coal daily by train, truck, and conveyor belt to these power plants. So Eskom has more than enough coal to burn. The problem with Eskom is that about half of its coal-fired fleet is either under maintenance or broken, and they're busy fixing it. That's the true genesis of our load shedding at the moment. It's not a coal issue at all.
So let's talk about coal exports. Do they help Eskom stay operational? Are they critical to our country?
Gosh, they're absolutely critical to our country. It's in 2022, they were the second biggest mineral export the country had in terms of value. We estimate about 215 billion rands worth of coal was exported from the country. Our estimate is that it's going to be lower than 2021 in terms of volume. The volume will be slightly lower than 2021's 58 million tons. And this is primarily because of the difficulties Transnet has on its coal link and other rail networks. So coal miners are increasingly turning to trucks, which means we're not getting the same volume through the port.
Now, some commentators say that due to corruption in the awarding of coal contracts, that has led indirectly to load shedding because the breakdowns can be attributed to Eskom burning low-grade coal while the top-quality coal is exported or sold to external parties. Is there any truth to this?
Again, that's a fairly simplistic description of the problem. So coal mines sell their coal to Eskom. They put it on a truck, which is the standard coal or the quality of coal that Eskom needs. And the corruption happens once it leaves the mine gates. The story is well known that truck drivers are then stop their truck at a certain point. The good quality coal is unloaded and rubbish is put on, and then the good quality coal is then exported through various ports, including Maputo, funny enough. And then Eskom gets a delivery of substandard coal, which is being corruptly added or put onto the truck after the mine gates. So yes, that is a factor. The price of coal has encouraged this kind of behavior. During 2022, the coal price was about $280 a ton. It's now around 170. So the margins on perhaps paying the bribes to drivers and security guards and that kind of thing are a lot thinner. Will it reduce the corruption or theft of coal? I doubt it. There's very clearly established criminal network or syndicate behind the theft of coal.
What would the consequences be if coal exports were disrupted?
Oh, goodness. It's big. So the coal industry employs directly about 90,000 people. That's 90,000 people. And there are thousands more involved in the rail logistics, trucking, and the port operations. So if there are disruptions to our exports and these disruptions are extended, it could result in mines perhaps laying people off, people employed trucking coal, and the rail network will certainly be affected, as will the ports. And then more importantly, for the fiscus, 215 billion rands worth of coal sales, about a third of that, maybe a little less, goes back to the government in forms of tax. It's a big earner of foreign exchange. the consequences are very serious, and we're taking these threats very seriously indeed.
What do you think is behind this campaign? If it's so easy to break down the basis of the story and to say, well, hang on, this is not based on fact at all, what do you think the motivation behind this campaign really is?
Gosh, we really don't know at this point. At the moment, it's a social media campaign. There's some well-known names. I'm not going to go into them now, who are sort of posting and retweeting this campaign, but it seems fairly well orchestrated. The Twitter posts are quite well designed and illustrated and that kind of thing. So there's definitely some sort of campaign here. We just don't understand exactly who's behind it and why.
And what is the Mineral Council of South Africa asking South Africans to do in terms of this campaign? Obviously to not support it, but is some kind of mobilization required?
No, look, I think what we need here is a confidence that the state security cluster will act very, very quickly and decisively if there is any disruption to the coal exports. You know, there's no logical reason or no factual reason for coal exports to be stopped in any kind of way. It affects the entire country. We simply can't have lawlessness of that degree. Speaking to our coal members today, we're not seeing this disruption yet, but certainly the social media campaign is spreading, and yeah, we're just flagging this immediately. I'm sure the security cluster is well aware of it. Our members certainly are. And we're just raising this as a real worry for the industry.
So have specific physical threats been made against the Richards Bay coal terminal?
And not that we've seen. So our members haven't had any kind of threats, nor has RBCT. It just seems that there's a campaign to try and disrupt exports from RBCT, the purpose of which is unknown.
Thank you very much for your time this evening for that clarification. Alan Seckham, Head of Communications at Mineral Council of South Africa, speaking to us about that social media campaign.